Thanks very much, Heather, for that very warm introduction. I think it's, there's been a lot of incredible speakers today and yesterday, and I'm about to stand on another light. And I think there's been a lot that we've all kind of got from these sessions, but I also think there's been a lot that we've all got from talking to other product marketers on the side, outside the networking area, or, conversing afterwards over drinks. And I'll definitely be around for another drink tonight. But I think if there's one underlying theme for me, one kind of trend, one kind of stereotype that really has, I guess, reinforced, why we're all here, and that's how broad the role of a product marketer really is. I mean, from yesterday, from Tanya's conversation around, leading with an insight-led roadmap to the go-to-market panel and kind of everything in between. And that's not to mention kind of all the content we're asking in the whole sales enablement conference next door. But it truly, and it's not going to come as a shock to any of us, but it truly resonates, I guess, for me and reinforces just how many hats that we're really wearing, pardon me. And it reminded me of the product marketing meetups that a few people have mentioned. I was at one the other week, and the topic came up around all of the different analogies that we use when we huddled in the corner discussing product marketing things. And some of them that came out were, we're the coach, we're the quarterback, we're the conductor. Karim's favorite, I can't see him now, but we're the lighthouse. Oh, there he is, perfect. These are all, pretty serious roles, I think, and they're pretty important in a business. A lighthouse, they're there to make sure that the ships arrive safely through troubled seas and in dangerous weather. Take a moment, and I fully appreciate it's the lighthouse operator that should get all the credit here. They're the ones doing all the work. But if it is the lighthouse keeper who's running that responsibility, they're the one in charge of making sure that our customers are getting the product safe and sound, the ship's making it to shore. Pardon me. And if we think about some of those other analogies, we're the quarterback, and that's a pretty important role where, what does the quarterback do? We're making calls and we're running plays, but is it the quarterback who's really doing that work? Sometimes it's the coach who's kind of telling them what to do and what plays to call. And that's fine. So we might be the quarterback, maybe we're the coach. I'm a big avid fan of Medium. And if any of you guys read Medium, I'm sure you've probably seen the same articles that I have. Customer success is the quarterback of your business. Marketing is the quarterback of your business. Product manager is the quarterback of the product. Who's building all these companies with all these quarterbacks? It's not quite a productive kind of team. But whether we're the quarterback or whether we're the coach, I don't think it really matters. It's the results that count. For the quarterback, for the coach, for the conductor, it's pretty instantaneous kind of results. Successful game, they scored the points. It's the results that count. They also have an instantaneous kind of reaction there. If you make the right play, you fairly quickly realize whether it was a good play or not. You score the points. If it was a bad play, you also really understand that, the other team's now got the ball and you're up a certain creek with no paddle. For the lighthouse keeper, it's the same, although potentially on a different scale, the boat may crash and hit those metaphorical rocks that kind of litter our product go-to-market strategy, where we've got to steer our customers away from, the dangers of the product, or, getting out of hand with data privacy and all of that. But it's still, whether you're the lighthouse keeper or the quarterback or the coach, the results are instantaneous. And as product marketers, we don't really have that. What we do have, and I know I don't have to say it to all of you because it's happened to me, is that at the end of a 20-hour day, or what feels like a 20-hour day, I should say, or what's probably a 60-hour week, is we sit down, drink in hand, as we're probably going to do tonight, and sometimes it can take us a while to really understand, to think about what we've accomplished that week. We're doing so many things, and it's really hard to sometimes, put metrics behind all of that. Pardon me. So Another one of my favorite articles from Medium, of course, it's called Multitasking, or it's headed, Multitasking is Killing Your Brain. Because that's the thing. As humans, we can't really multitask. We can prioritize a whole lot of work, all due yesterday, and put it in the backlog, and we call that multitasking. But multitasking, in reality, it's not really like that. Multitasking, we need to be able to give, a lot of different work, the same amount of care and attention. So I'll give you an example. While I'm talking, try reciting the alphabet to yourselves, of course, and see how you go. Now, you can probably do that. I'm guessing you all know the alphabet, but also you don't really need to pay that much attention to me. I'm just some guy on stage waffling on. But how about if you do that again, listen to me talking and try and concentrate. Granted, I'll stop talking soon, but instead recite the alphabet backwards, Z, Y, X, etc. I probably got one of those wrong. And it's a lot harder to do because we can't both listen and pretend to pay attention to me on stage and give the same amount of commitment, of energy to reciting the alphabet backwards or forwards, whichever the case may be. But, as I'm prone to do, this conversation isn't really about multitasking. Instead, pardon me, I'm prone to digressing, but what I wanted to talk to you about, and it got me a while to get to here, is I guess the secret tips and tricks that I've learned that have helped me to become a better product marketer. And the most important thing is with less work. I want to help you guys write the most compelling product stories you can and get your customers to do that work for you. So this could be, writing the most compelling copy for your web page, or writing incredibly enabling sales content. So while I was preparing for this presentation, it was definitely a bit of a process. I caught a documentary, which probably in reality means a couple of hours of me binging Netflix. And I stumbled upon this documentary. And this is a tangent, trust me, but D-Day. So all the Allies, they're preparing for the invasion of France to save it from Germany. The story, the Americans, the Australians, the Canadians, Kiwis, British, South Africans. They're all there preparing. Everyone's raring to go. Everyone wants to be on board and help out. So as part of this, the governments from all these countries, they said, cool, send us your vacation photos from wherever you are in the country. And they didn't want to kind of explicitly say Normandy so that in case the Germans found out. So they get all of this intelligence from all of these agencies, all these kind of soldiers boots on the ground. And then they also, they interviewed all the French people. They got a whole bunch of photo reconnaissance. And, they collated all this and off they go. We're ready, we're launching, we're on the track. And turns out that no one told them about hedgerows. Now, if you don't know, as I didn't before I'd seen that documentary, hedgerows are a glorified giant bush, and apparently soldiers can hide behind them and shoot through them, and they've kind of made a bit of a deal. So the Allies, they didn't have any jeeps to drive over them, not that they could, I guess, and they didn't really have tanks at that stage, or apparently flamethrowers to burn them down. And it cost a lot of lives, this not knowing about hedgerows, something seemingly right in front of us. And it's interesting because no one wanted it to fail. No one went out there willingly to give them bad advice and not tell them about these hedgerows. Everyone was on board. Everyone was committing to a super successful launch. There was a lot of energy about it, claiming it back from the Germans and all that, or whatever they got to rally the troops in time. But it's a bit of a tangent, Will. What the hell are you talking about? How is, Normandy invasion and this intelligence failure all related to product marketing? I'm pretty sure I haven't just picked up my son's book report, although his teacher's in for a shock when she's got a presentation about product marketing later today. So, awkward's there. But I think it really does have a really strong impact on us as product marketers. Because if you don't have anything, you don't have intelligence, you can't market a product. We all engage in intelligence gathering every day. It's part of our job. And I think there's been a plethora of speakers already today and indeed yesterday talking around how important it is to be talking to our customers and to be, getting their voice on that roadmap. Everything from what are we building next to is this doing any good to how is our engagement. Now, another story, if you'll permit me to digress one more time, and this one's a true story, which I know usually means that it's absolutely made up, but I assure you it came on good authority that was true. Is this man, he's walking down the street in his hometown, the main street I guess it would be, and everyone seems to have a sale on, 50% off over here and closing down sale that looks like it's been there for a couple too many years. And he's walking past the bike shop. It's probably a hipster, so it could be in Melbourne. And the guy who owns the bike shop, he stops him and he goes like, come in here, I'm going to talk to you about my coolest, latest new bike. And he talks to him for a couple of minutes. And at the end of his sales pitch, he is chuffed. He's smiling. He thinks he's got it in the bag. This guy is buying a bike. And this guy who's just minding his own business, he looks at the shopkeeper and he smiles at him and he says, I can't ride a bike. I never have. I never will. I've got vertigo. It's not really my thing. It's interesting, and I think we do that quite a lot, and it kind of fleshes back to the classic sales guys where, they're just not listening to the story. But really, that's our responsibility to help them get there. The shopkeeper, he was talking at this guy. He wasn't listening to him. He was lecturing at him, but he wasn't really engaging in what he was saying. And that's where we need to come in to support our salespeople. But it starts with talking to the customers. So I won't ask for a show of hands because sometimes people feel a bit embarrassed about this, but have a think to yourselves, and how many of us have spoken to a customer this week? Granted, we're away at a not conference. So what about this month maybe? This quarter, this year? Talking to customers, as we know and we've heard in the last 2 days, is very valuable. But I do these things, and if you don't, I hope you will, is I do talk to my customers. I went on site and talked to some customers on Monday this week. Granted, super unsuccessful, but it still goes. Communication with our customers is the key to success. It takes time, it takes effort, and it's, for us, we know we're already flat out, and time, it's a limited resource. But I think that there is no better way to spend, there's no better way to invest your time than in building those relationships with your customers. And the only way we can do that is not just by talking to them or at them, but with them. Of course, there is one condition. We need to know the right questions to ask. And as my title of my presentation implies, I've promised you 2. So I'll start on that. But to begin with, I think it's important to know that there's no such thing as a unique problem for our customers. If one customer has a problem and you share that story, really the emotions behind it, other people are going to come on board and they're going to understand that problem they've got and the solution they've got. And I promise you that if you write a story, if you write copy that really digs into that, into the emotions of that, it'll resonate with hundreds, maybe thousands of prospects, and they will become your customers. To put it another way, customers are going to provide you with the most compelling reasons to buy your product. Why? Well, it's simple. They're authentic, they're real, and they're honest, and honesty sells. So, enough waffling from me. What questions should you ask? Well, as I said, I promise you 2. I'm going to figure out how this clicker works for the first time, guessing this big button here. And the first one is, what's your moment of highest tension? Of course, if you ask someone that question, they're going to think you're a bit of a weirdo, and how did we hire this guy to run product marketing for us? But of course, you don't want to start it like that. You want to talk like a normal person. What'll get you to buy my product? That's no good. You sound like that used car salesman again. What's it going to take to get you in this car? You sound like an idiot. So you've got to begin at the beginning. How can we help you today? What problems are we hiring you to solve? What are the monsters that are blocking you from getting there? And how does that make you feel? I feel that speaker hums me. Now you can start a conversation. You still don't have a story to tell, but you're getting there. And the second question is, what's your moment of greatest pleasure? Again, you definitely don't want to be asking this one because you will be slapped. But what you actually want to ask, like a normal human being, because once you know what their problem is, what their moment of highest tension is why do you do what you do? How do you know when you've had a successful week? What does that success mean? And how does it make you feel? And then how can we help you see that success? Now, you know what they're really looking for, and not just a 30,000-foot version of why, and you're talking to them like a real person. You know their problem intricately, you know why it's hurting, and you know the solution that they're really looking for. But is that enough? It's probably more than a few friendly competitors in this room, and so I thought I might give you one extra question, above and beyond the two I promised you at the start, just to give you a bit of a leg up on your competitor. So talk to your customers a year after they've onboarded and ask, how is having our product today greater than it was a year ago? Or, you know, maybe they may be a bit longer customers, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. What's different? Pardon me. How has our product solved the problem for you? How has it made their life easier, more successful? Maybe they have more money to be able to spend on R&D or growing into a new market. Maybe they've got more time to be training their team or even like the non-work related. They've got more time to spend with their families, especially if they're a founder. Their answers are going to be your copy. Their answers are going to be the copy that sells your product. That's going to engage and excite not only your prospects, but also the customers who maybe felt a bit disheartened by your product so far. I'll give you an example. When I started in product marketing, I had come before that from a background running restaurants and bars for a living. So I thought I knew my way around point-of-sale companies, point-of-sale technology at least, and I thought I knew the pros and the cons of each. And the first company I worked for as a product marketer was a point-of-sale company. And one day we made this decision that we wanted to get our customers in, at least some of our bigger customers with an exciting story to tell. We wanted to get them in to come and talk to our team, share their story and get our devs and our support guys. They're not really, the guys who didn't really have that customer-facing component of their roles, really get them excited about why we're doing what we're doing. Me, as the loudest, most obnoxious person in the marketing team at the time, was asked to host these panels. And I remember one customer in particular and his story. It's Craig. He was the head of operations at the time for Sonoma. So for the Sydney side, it's some of the best bread in Sydney, at least I think. I definitely like it. And they're one of the, I guess, the longest serving and also the most, most comfortable with giving us feedback kind of customers. We really built that relationship over a couple of years. And I asked Craig, and I was like, you've been with us for 5 years. It's a long time. He'd been there since absolute MVP. What was the line I heard from Jensen yesterday was the most minimum viable product, the MMMVP. And he'd been through a lot of bugs and quite a number of betas and false starts with us. And I said, Craig, after 5 years, why are you still here? How is having this product different for you now than when you started and when you hired us the first time round? And he said to me, he's like, when every minute that I save using this product, whether it's from running a report, which at his time was, I guess before us, it was around Excel and, a whole bunch of kind of random different calculations, to moving to a product that does that for him, or to having a system that's reliable that he doesn't need to spend troubleshooting his printers. He said to me, every minute I save doing that, I can save and invest in training my team or growing our business. Every dollar that we save using your product, or dollar in time or dollar in physical cost, is money that we can spend building a bigger factory, something we can empower, we can grow our customer base with, serve more businesses. And Craig also has a young family. And he's also said, you know, every moment that I don't have to spend troubleshooting, the BS of old POS systems is time that I can spend with my family, time that I can spend with my kids, because that time's not coming back. In no uncertain terms, he told me, it's effing amazing. Of course, I lost the battle to have that as our new website, H1. So for many people, you know, following up with customers, it's not an easy thing to do. And I think that's because, you know, we all fear rejection. I definitely do. As much as I'm on stage now, much like Andrew before, I'm a substantial introvert. And, you know, it's often, you know, we've got that from customers. They may be not enjoying the product as much as we think they might be. And none of us want to hear your product's garbage. And what we definitely don't want to see is that same customer writing that online. So it's a good thing you called, really, because now you can talk to them about it. You can figure out why they've got that pain. Maybe it's actually working fine and they just didn't know what the product was supposed to do or how they were supposed to use it, different workflows for their business. Maybe it's actually not working and it's a bug that you can fix, or maybe you didn't onboard them properly, or maybe it's just not the right product for them. So it's definitely a good thing you called before they called your competitor. And that's why, as product marketers, we have two responsibilities. Sometimes, and then two sides of the same coin as well. We've got to learn from our customers, and we've also got to make them happy. So that fear of rejection, it prevents us from asking difficult questions. It's the invisible enemy that keeps many of us from building and scaling a successful product. So if you can take one thing from this presentation, it's learn from your customers. Doing so, you're going to be able to build the best marketing team you can. And you're not going to have to pay them a cent, because there's no better marketers than your customers. Thank you very much. Am I asking my own questions? Because I can do that as well.
Hey, so what is your strategy for interpreting your customer feedback, Will?
For interpreting it?
Yes.
As in, for just some clarification around like all the things that's not from sitting in front of a customer and talking to them for whoever asked the question? Nope, no one? Okay, cool. So I guess I try and bucket into a couple of different groups, and I by no means have a well fleshed out structure for it. It's still pretty fast and loose for me, but I try and group it into where the customer is at the life cycle of their journey. Are they, you know, brand new customer, they've just onboarded, they're still probably in that honeymoon stage and they're like, love it, would think, you know, maybe you should have this feature, which you potentially already have, and it's I guess an education problem. Maybe they're a customer on the way out and they're, you know, fed up with the service or the features keep breaking. Again, curates a different kind of audience. And then the third one is around, I guess, the emotion and the kind of what are they trying to achieve and how are you helping them to get there. And then underpinning all of that is where that customer ties in around your segments. Or at least this is how I look at it, is, you know, are they our target market? Are they our most ideal customers? Should we be, you know, building these features for them? Or maybe, even though, yes, they're $1 million a year customer, maybe they're not our right customer and it's probably, you know, it's not that bad of a deal if they leave us and they move on and we keep pushing in the direction we want to head in. Hopefully that answered that question, at least loosely.
Cool. That's it. Any more questions for Will?
Love it. No more questions.
Round of applause, and it's time for lunch.